evening. Welcome to the Fayette County School Corporation Board of School Trustees Business Meeting for Tuesday, November 9th. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a presentation tonight. We have Rachel O'Brien with us. She is our food service director, and she's going to be giving us some updates on Charlotte's.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Is that my first slide?
No.
Okay. I know she was like, we'll mess around with it.
Okay, sorry.
You're okay.
I'm trying to spatial this. I was gonna say, it doesn't look like that right now.
There we go. I mean, that's really not that important. So Cindy did have it right. Food service update. I'm just coming tonight basically to talk a little bit about our middle school remodel, give an update on that, and then also talk about, I do always watch the board meetings. So I watch them on YouTube. I'm a big fan. So I'm just kidding, but I do always watch them. I like to know what's going on in the community. I do live in the community. So I did see that we had some concerns with breakfast, so I just wanted to kind of show some breakfast items tonight at the board meeting and talk about those items too, for the public too, so they can kind of know exactly what we're serving at breakfast. So our first slide here, the middle school remodel. So you can see the floor being demolished at the middle school. So the serving area, the flooring is complete, the walls are prepped and painted, all the electrical upgrades are completed, everything is ready to go. Here is our beautiful floor after completion. You can kind of see the nice white tile. It's kind of a beige, a sandstone color. Projected completion is spring break now. So resin is short right now. You know how the world we live in is going right now. And so there's a lot of things on back order, and resin right now is something that is short. Also, we had some delays getting that RFP submitted for the state, so we're just behind schedule on getting this finished. Really all that's left, and I think Scott's talked about that, is putting the tables, the booths, the equipment into place. Hooking up electrical. We're going to have some pretty digital signage in the middle school so the kids can see what's being served that day. So that'll be the things that's going to happen that week over spring break. All the pretty graphics put up on the walls, the barn doors installed, things like that. I'm really excited about it. So I think the middle school's going to look totally different. And the flooring is a huge improvement already. So that's...
It's level.
Yes. The white was very white, I will say. When I walked in, I was a little shocked because it was all the walls and the floor. But it's going to look really nice once it all comes together. This is, you guys have seen it. I know I've shown it to you before, but it's kind of just the projections of what some of the pieces are going to look like. It's going to look really nice in there. So as far as nutrition information, I do know, and I think some of our parents, most of them know, you can go to our NutriSlice website and look up our menu information. That's also going to give you carb counts. We use that a lot for allergens. So if kids are allergic, you can put in the what they're allergic to, and that's also going to help. I know our nurses use that a lot at our schools to tell what kids are allergic to, what they cannot eat. And allergies are a lot more common now, so that's something we really have to watch out for. Breakfast items. So I did bring some items, and I'm actually going to pass them around. So I'll start with Mr. Harris here. And you can see, please do not eat any of that. There are 3 items in there that are supposed to be refrigerated, and they haven't been refrigerated, so I don't want anyone to get sick. But you can see in there, I do know one of the items that were in question was the breakfast kit. So it does have 60 grams of carbs in it, and that is for a bowl of cereal, a pack of animal crackers, and a juice. So that's actually 3 items that has the 60 carbs total. I do know we've had this conversation before. I know Lori and Ann have both been on the menu committee, and I invite any parents that want to be on that to contact me too. I like parent support and I like parent input. Some of the items like the Pop-Tarts, when you eat the Pop-Tarts, I know Ann and Lori have both tried cereal bars, Pop-Tarts. They do not taste like the ones you buy at Walmart.
No.
So they are formulated different. There's about 36 carbs in that Pop-Tart right there that's being served. So they are a healthier option than what you will get at Walmart. Pop-Tarts are never going to be healthy, but that's what our kids do like. They're used to it. We do throw in different options. We have fruits that are available, juice available, and the juices are all natural. There's no fillers or preservatives, and then milk that they can have also, and they can choose from a white milk or a chocolate milk. They don't have to pick that flavored option. I know at Little Spartan Preschool, they totally just do the white milk for those little kids. So that's kind of our options that we offer to our students daily. Part of the reason we offer these prepackaged items too is because we do offer breakfast in the classroom. So that limits us. We can't serve scrambled eggs and sausage in the classroom every day for 300 kids at Eastview. Unfortunately, that's just not logistically possible. And the custodians, I know, would also not really love me if I did that daily. But the individual wrapped stuff is what we do offer. And that way we can serve more kids in our community too, because we do offer free breakfast, free lunch, and free supper right now. So does anybody have, I do have product shortages up here, and that comes into play too. That has been an all-year thing. We've had a lot of substitutions. Principals, staff have been very good with allowing us to substitute things on short notice. GFS may arrive and not have chicken nuggets for anyone in the district. So we may be scrambling and having some hamburgers here and some chicken drumsticks or chicken tenders. Right now we are working with Food Buy, which encompasses basically our mediator between the vendors to get some items drop shipped in. So we'll have some backup on items that maybe are short. That I guess Kellogg's is on strike right now. So all the breakfast items are very hard to come by. So if you have a favorite cereal, you might want to go buy that. So we have some schools up north that are really seriously worried that they're not going to be able to continue their breakfast in the classroom program if they don't start getting product in. That would affect a lot of our kids. So I did an average today. We serve 1,900 kids a day in the district for breakfast. So that would really hurt us if we couldn't do that anymore. So I'm hoping that these supply shortages start to even out. But hopefully with this drop ship items that I might be able to get, we can have a backup, kind of a little bit of a stockpile in our dry storage area at the high school to accommodate any of those shortages. And I think I have questions now.
Rachel, that stuff is on the grab and go also, correct?
Yes, so on middle school and high school. So at the high school, we do have in the mornings at 7:45, we do offer hot options. So when the kids come in, today we did have sausage, eggs, and gravy and biscuits for those kids as another option, because we are able to do that at the high school just with the setup, with the campus style setup. But then we also offer at 9 o'clock a grab and go cart, just like we do at the middle school. So they can go and they can get things off of the cart after their first period class. A lot of our middle and high school students aren't hungry first thing in the morning. So they always go for the second chance breakfast. Elementary is straight up, they just serve first thing when they come in.
We've come a long way
Oh, yeah.
to nothing and now something 3 times a day maybe. We've come a very long way. I witnessed it. You know, I was out there when it was nothing. And then I saw the kids scramble in at 7:30 or 7:45 to get whatever they could grab and go, and very appreciative. We've come a long way.
And there's always improvements. I mean, that's why we have our menu advisory board. We can always make improvements in some aspect of what we're doing. And I do encourage anyone that wants to be on it. I still need a board member, hint, hint. And I would like to have some parent involvement too. I have some teachers and some students from the high school that are wanting to be on that board. But if anyone wants to reach out to me, I would be happy to have input from other people on the board too. Does anybody else have any other questions, food service related? We do have a new chef starting next week. So Charlie's not coming back, but we do have another chef that will be starting on the 17th. So he'll be able to get in and do our demos and the smoothie bike and start doing some more hands-on sampling with the kids. The Discovery Kitchen's always a big hit. The kids like that too. So.
And we have one of those coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna have one this week, and then my chef can't start till next Wednesday, and he's gonna go through some training. So we will be having, I think our smoothie bike maybe is the end of November, and then we have a couple Discovery Kitchens in December that will be showcasing some spices and some different things, showing the kids how they could use them and integrate them in cooking at home.
So what schools will those be in?
I think my first two are Eastview and Everton.
Okay.
We try to alternate the smoothie bike and the Discovery Kitchens. I think Grandview and Little Spartan might be the first with the smoothie bikes.
I see.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rachel.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. I would like to seek a motion to approve the agenda as submitted and amended, please. Thank you, Chris. Could I get a second? Thank you, Dennis. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, public comment. Do we have any? Okay. Okay, consent agenda. Approval of the minutes from regular business meeting of October 19th, 21. Personnel report, retirements, resignations, leaves of absence. And approval of October 2021 claims number 60397 to number 60579. I would like to seek a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I do that motion.
Thank you, Jeremy. I have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ann. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Action items, personnel report. Mr.
We gotta
Harris.
approve claims. I forgot to see.
It's all together.
Is it
They're all
all
together,
together?
yeah.
Oh,
Ann.
okay,
read it.
sorry.
I read it. It's all together. Okay. Personnel report, Mr. Harris.
Okay, first I have personnel report for this evening. Recommendations for employment of classified staff. Elena Buckler as custodian at the middle school. Terry Harrison as custodian, split between Frazee and Crestview. Recommendation for,
Grandview.
what did I say?
Crestview.
Oh, Grandview. I don't know where my mind is. Rick Lamping as the permanent substitute at Frazee. Tiffany Funk as the Head Start Nutrition Bus Assistant at Little Spark Preschool. Marissa Newcomb as the Head Start Floating Educational Assistant at Little Spartan Preschool. And then in extracurricular, recommend Colton Massey as the Varsity Assistant Wrestling Coach.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. I'd like to seek a motion to accept the personnel report. Thank you, Jeremy. Second, Chris. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, approval of teacher collective bargaining agreement for 2021 and 22. Mr. Harris?
Okay, I'll present a little bit, and then I don't know if Mr. Collins want to add any to it or not, but the last board meeting, I presented the tentative agreement that we had with the Teachers Association, and tonight I come to you and tell you that the teachers approved the contract on a vote of 76-3. So overwhelming support from the teachers, but I really want to take this time as much to thank the teachers bargaining team, administration, all of the people involved with it. This was, in some respects, it was one of the more difficult contracts to get, just because we really totally revamped the salary structure. But I think in that revamping of the salary structure, we've been able to address some of the iniquities that were built within the previous salary structure due to the law changes that took place back in 2009. We had a real, somewhat of a discrepancy that we had over 2/3 of our teachers making between $50,000 and down. And then we had 1/3 of our teachers in the broad range of the $50,000 to $70,000 range. But this, we made some dramatic changes. The pay increases, I think that the good side of it is the teachers are going to see these in a real short order. And I think the way they voted shows that they're very supportive of this. And, upon approval of the board, a little background, my objective is that we will give letters out to each teacher individually, because this is not a pay increase that just says it's 2% across the board, or everybody gets a $500 pay increase. It varies on where they were on the salary schedule. So we have preliminarily made letters ready to distribute tomorrow, and get those in the teachers' hands so that they can look at it and see where is their contract today, where is it going to be, and then our objective would be to be able to roll out the retro pay and the new pay increases by our pay date on December the 10th. So I don't know if there's any other additional questions on the contract, but like I said, it took a lot of work. I don't know how many times and how many endeavors I went looking through the contract, but I think it's really exciting, the things that we were able to do with this teacher contract to make a positive difference with our teaching staff. So I'm recommending approval.
We also kept the same insurance match, which we had a good year overall with the 5% increase, so that helped us. And as we talked about that 45% rule with out of the education fund, this should put us well above that number. So I feel really good about that too. Plus, we exceeded the starting pay threshold that the state set, which is really good as well. So I think this is positioned as well to be competitive in the state and region with benefits and pay, which we have to continue to remain that way, because there's a shortage of teachers, as you all know, and it's not getting any better at this point.
The fixing of the discrepancies has been huge in talking to teachers about the contract, because there are some that were very upset that they've had 5, 6, 7 years of experience, and somebody coming brand new was going to make approximately the same amount that they did. And this fixes that. It's not a perfect fit, but from my impression in talking to many is we've recognized that there was a problem, and we are doing our best to fix it, because they want to stay here, and they understand it. It's a very competitive market, and this allows us to keep our edge and keep our good people, because they feel like they're being appreciated for the time and effort that they put in, because it didn't look that way for quite a while. And it wasn't our fault, it was just what the legislature had done. So.
And something else to note before the vote is, our enrollment came in higher than what was estimated, which was a really positive, and we passed that extra money on to this contract. So I think that's important to realize as well. That
How many more kids did we have?
we had about 60,
Wow.
55 to 60 than what was
From what our
estimated.
projections we based it on, we still lost enrollment based from last year to this year.
Yeah.
But it was not nearly as dramatic as what we were prepared and anticipating, so.
Wow.
That's
So,
great.
yeah.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
good.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to seek a motion for approval of the teacher collective bargaining agreement for 2021-22.
I so moved.
Thank you, Ann. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mark. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, motion carries.
We will need to sign that after the meeting too, so just stay around for that. So, thanks.
Okay, approval to purchase football lights. Mr. Harris.
I will recommend to the board that we purchase lights, and when I say lights, it's 3 poles of lights. There's 4 poles out there, but if you remember, a year ago in July, we lost one of the poles due to extreme winds and storm damage. And so that one was already replaced. The 3 new light poles will replace the old ones and also match the lights. If you've been out on the football field, there's a dramatic difference in the type of light of new lighting with LED as opposed to the old lighting. So I'm recommending that we purchase the 3 new lights and light poles from Musco Sports Lighting. Also, this is one we had talked about that we will be purchasing out of this from some of the savings that we saw from the refinancing of the middle school bond, so.
So the insole won't be dark anymore.
Correct.
And when will those be installed?
Probably in the February to March timeframe. Our goal is that the new lights will be in time for, particularly, some, and Dennis can probably answer this better than anybody else here, but I know we host the IHSA track and field sectionals, as well as some early meets. Just, it gets dark by the end of it, so the goal is that we will have the new lights in time for, April 1st timeframe, the beginning of track season, so that we'll be all good to go there.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, I would like to seek a motion for approval to purchase the football lights. Thank you, Dennis. May I have a second?
Second.
Chris? Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Okay, approval to purchase the CHS library furniture. Mr. Harris.
Another recommendation to purchase new furniture for the high school library. Mrs. Giesting, Mr. Judd, myself talked about the need for new library furniture. My best guess looking at that furniture, there's a lot of things, if you go through the high school, you can say, oh yeah, I remember when we built the new high school, that was in there. My best guess is the furniture in that library is pre-new building. And when I say new, my guess is that some of the library furniture was brought from the old building into this building. I mean, the way that it was built and the style, it predates anything I've seen, and I've seen a lot of stuff back even to the mid-60s, but that furniture is older than that. So if you haven't been there, during fall break, I guess we just finished, we repainted the entire library. We did some fixing of there were some leaks in the windows, they just needed new caulking, and we took care of that. So the next step really is to purchase new furniture in there. So I'm recommending that we purchase the furniture from Educational Furniture at a cost of $40,099.79.
Okay. All right, I'd like to seek a motion for the approval to purchase the library furniture for CHS.
I'll give that motion.
Thank you, Jeremy. Have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ann. Any further discussion? They say it is about time, I guess. It's needed, so.
What are we
maybe-
gonna do with the old furniture? Because if it's been around since the 60s,
Museum.
yeah, really, it's gotta be, and if it's still,
Auction
if it's still usable, there's still kids sitting on it this week.
I don't know that I
They
would-
don't make it like that anymore.
No, they don't. I don't know if the National Archives would want it or something, but,
Maybe
It's
we
seen
ought to
better
put at
days.
least
It's seen
one
better
in
days.
a case in the library. You know, this is what we sat on for the last 50 years.
There's a DP engraved in one of the wood chairs, so I don't know what that means.
Uh-oh.
Neither confirmed nor denied. Leave that alone.
Have we improved the lighting in the library recently, or?
The paint has helped a lot, but we are looking now, we're not ready to really talk about, but looking at the LED replacements.
Okay.
I can't imagine a room that would have a better requirement for lighting than the library.
Right.
Got a lot of shit.
That's actually we're working on some
yeah,
things.
we're working on something. One thing you will notice though, is, I haven't been back over there and looked, I know during fall break they were also working, but they have installed some new, very large monitors in the library to be able to be used with planning our computers and all of that for classroom discussions and for group presentations and things. So we have upgraded the technology in there also.
That's wonderful. Great. Okay. All right. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. All right. Approval of the automated logic proposal. Mr. Harris.
The last proposal I think I have tonight, recommending acceptance accepting the proposal of $474,000 from Automated Logic. What Automated Logic does is this is really the intelligence behind the heating and cooling systems in our middle school and our high school. So it's it's our two largest buildings. But what this is doing is really putting kind of new brains into the outfit, upgrading the routers and all of that type of technology that's in it, as well as when you look at our systems, the head end and the controls are touching every single classroom. So it's not just a matter of saying, we want, the second floor to be 70 degrees. We can know what the temperatures are in every classroom. We can make adjustments. The system normally from the settings makes those type of adjustments. So this is it's the system we have today with Automated Logic, but this is really bringing it up into the modern age. The existing systems in the buildings are somewhere between 18 to 22 years old, and they're just past their time. They've done a great job in the buildings, but this will also help us maintain heating and cooling, and we'll be bringing later on some upgrades to the hardware side of it, meaning the actual units. But we've had this looked at by Northern Mechanical, who does a lot of our heating and cooling work. Performance Systems has looked at this, and they said you definitely need to do that. So,
will this result in any cost savings as far as is more efficient heating and cooling?
It will be a little bit, but the actual heating, the chillers and the heating and cooling units are still the same for right now. So it will provide some savings, but not a significant from there. And the other one I don't think I mentioned though, and this was another one of those, this will be paid for out of the ESSER funds, which assists with all that.
Which really was the original intent, if I remember right, when they came up with ESSER
That's one of
funds.
the main things.
Yeah,
For better air quality,
Better air
heat,
quality.
everything.
In the buildings.
There's
yeah.
sensors in each of the returns in the classrooms too to monitor that, and so, yeah, it's, because we replaced the boilers, if you recall, about 4 years ago, I believe.
5 years ago, yeah.
And so this will really bring all that up to speed. High school will have some more work down the road to do, but people don't realize how expensive keeping your HVAC systems up and going. You know how much it is in a home, but imagine our campus with the square footage.
In our separate buildings and all
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and the fact that some of the buildings are older and not as,
They're all older, yeah.
yeah, and they're not as energy efficient.
So is this something that can be done right away? Is that what we're
They will be,
anticipating?
yes, they will start on this immediately, and it'll be one of those that they can go from room to room, that, there may be a time that somebody says, hey, tomorrow we're gonna be in, room 101, and start this. So they may be in and out, they're always in and out of the buildings, it seems like, but this is something we will be able to start. This isn't just a Christmas project or just a summer project. This is going to be an ongoing, it's gonna take them a while to do all of the work required in this.
Okay, all right, good. All right, I'd like to seek a motion for the approval of the Automated Logic proposal.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mark. And a second? Thank you, Jeremy. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, public comment. Persons wishing to make the board aware of suggestions, ideas, and/or comments may address the board at this time. Comments which involve personnel or students must be discussed in private. And we do have a couple patrons who would like to speak tonight, and we would like to limit it to 5 minutes. And the first one is Jabed Collins, and if you would just come up and state your name, please.
My name is Javen Collins. I reside on 35th Street in Connersville. I've got a timer, so I will try to police myself as well. My wife and I are parents, 2 children here in the Connersville School District. I'm here at this meeting to address my view on the mask mandate and a few other things. As I review the meetings of this board over the past several months, my opinion of this current school board and its leadership continues to grow with deeper concern. Not only with how this board conducts its financial priorities, but to also to the overreach of power and forgetfulness of its responsibilities. So let me clarify. Job responsibilities, and I will remind you of yours. In your policy, board responsibilities and duties, Fayette County School Corporation Policy 1.07, Article 2, or Section 2, says, quote, develop policies in accordance with the law and in accordance with educational needs of the people of the school community. Mandates are not law, and they are not educational. Education is your priority. The word education is defined as a process receiving or giving systematic instruction, especially at a school or university. Nowhere in the Constitution of the United States, the state of Indiana, or even in this school board's policies does it state that you can override or subvert the parents or their voters in this community and their rights. Authority, School Board Policy 1.06 says, quote, and I will go through all this real quick, to carry out the will of the people of the school corporation in matters of education. Again, mandates are not law. Mask mandates, let me review real quick. 4 members of this board approved to ignore the rights of parents to make medical decisions for their children by mandating the masks in school. In the school board meeting on September 2nd, school board member Kirshner stated regarding masks, I don't know if it's effective or not. You also said, quote, regarding COVID, it is also going to be around long after this, while not wearing a mask in that meeting. You then entered this building, coughing, sneezing. Please lead by leadership. You took parents' rights away because you were scared of the virus that has a 99% survival rate. Yet not even medical advice in this board would bring this up. The doctor sat right behind us and would not bring up the fact that there are survival rates. Yet we make judgment calls and advice based on fear. What's the alternative? There are alternatives, not just your backup plan. The alternatives, if you look at Franklin County this week, as well as Westfield and other Indiana counties, are ignoring the governor's mandates because 1, they are not law. 2, not only as several police agencies stated that it is not enforceable, the governor himself has also stated it is not enforceable. Again, look at other counties for your alternatives. In closing, making this real short and sweet, to the 4 board members that support, and I understand there's one missing tonight, to the 4 board members that support the taking away of parents' rights in this matter and want kids to wear masks, I am disappointed in members Leslie Jacobs, Lori Savoy, Ann Kirshner, and Mark Beard. I believe you should consider changing your decisions and force a new vote, and if not, or better yet, resign. To the 3 board members that support parents' choice and not wanting this mask mandate for our kids, thank you. Please vote again and make this a motion to eliminate this mask mandate. Not only do I do not support the mask mandate, let me make sure that we are clear going forward. I do not support mandatory vaccines. I do not support critical race theory. I do not support any gender mixing in bathrooms or messing with what God has created. In regards to the King James Version, Genesis 1:27, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. Again, Genesis 2:24, therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. You should also check out Genesis 2:21 through 24. Again, I support a parent's right to choose. You are here for educational, financial guidance of the school corporation, not to run my children's lives. Stay out of them. Thank you.
And next patron, Melissa Rose.
Hello. Hello. My name is Melissa Rose. I live in Connorsville. Just wrote down a few notes and really passionate about all this, but I want to let everyone know I appreciate you all as individuals and don't ever want to seem combative towards you personally, even though I might deeply disagree with choices you've made. I do hope that we can come to a common ground and, maybe be persuaded, have discussions even outside of here through email or, I just wanted to say, recently I had just a couple days ago seen a handout from the World Health Organization that really concerned me. I do know they've just recently approved the emergency use of these vaccinations, so-called, in ages 5 to 11. I don't want those coming to our schools, any type of mandates, whether the government hands them down or not. I hope if there's anything we can do to stand against those. I don't want any vaccine clinics to be set up at the school. I read the whole handout, and one thing I thought was important for any parents listening and for you members, I can send this in an email as well. They described 3 types of consent: verbal consent from the parents if they were in person with their child to be vaccinated, express written consent, also implied consent. An implied consent process, I'll read through this a little faster, by which parents are informed of imminent vaccination through social mobilization and communication, sometimes including letters directly addressed to the parents. I don't know how many times, my child's forgotten to give me a letter from school, so that's a little concerning. And, you might forget to open an email. So I'm not saying that's what this school will do, just please don't. Subsequently, the physical presence of the child or adolescent with or without an accompanying parent at the vaccination session is considered to imply consent. This practice is based on the opt-out principle, and parents who do not consent to vaccination are expected implicitly to take steps to ensure that their child or adolescent does not participate in the vaccination session. This may include not letting the child or adolescent attend school on a vaccination day if delivery occurs through schools. If at that point they are vaccinating at the schools at any time, I will feel that I'm being forced to take my child out of school because I cannot risk his health and safety. These interventions, not really traditional vaccine as we would know them, experimental chemicals, proprietary blends that they haven't even discussed, are putting out to us to prove what's in them. And the things that I have seen listed in the ones that they have shown I don't want in my child. But they've proven by science, it's more dangerous for our kids to receive a vaccine and more likely that they would have a severe outcome or death related to a vaccine, in the COVID vaccine, than if they would have just been risked being exposed to the virus. And we don't need to sacrifice our youngest population to protect people who are, the oldest and most frail. Obviously, we care about them, but never before have we taken our children, who are our future, and sacrificed them. When I hear that argument, it's just really upsetting. That somehow, like the Wayne County Health Department put out in their statement, we're really excited to get kids vaccinated, and it's really important they get it done before Thanksgiving, before they're around their grandparents. Well, my grandmother's not afraid of this virus, but she also, has considered not coming to the holidays. Things like that. I mean, they're the ones that should, take protective measures. If they feel that they're high risk, they get vaccinated, they socially distance. Although I don't like that term, socially distance, nothing social about it. Ostracize yourself, maybe. Unfortunately, the amount also that the government gives the schools, I did watch that budget meeting, is not the amount that we would get as a tax credit if we did withdraw our children to homeschool. Thankfully, Indiana does give a tax credit, which I think is important for parents to know, but I do feel that if they're forcing our children out of the schools, we should get all that money to homeschool for the curriculum or for private school that we might choose. So we just ask the board to be prepared to block any movement that would attempt to, whether it come down from the governor or otherwise, to have vaccine clinics set up at the school. The director of the Department of Health at Wayne County announced that they have received government funding to set up vaccination clinics in school. Again, they seem very eager and excited about it in their statement, so I hope that our school district will handle that differently if they offer us government funding. So we cannot I would just ask that we not take the path of least resistance. I know that doing things right and just is very difficult and painful sometimes, but I ask that we do that. I know anything in my life that I have achieved that was the most, had the most reward came at the highest cost and the most work and sacrifice on my part. Sacrifice of me being comfortable and so natural immunity is powerful. I'll just end with that. More powerful than the vaccines, that's been proven. And antibodies aren't being tested, so we don't know how many people in our community are already protected. I assume it's quite a bit. The people that I follow, the naturopathic doctors, a lot of people that are very much like, if you want to get a vaccine because that's your free choice, and maybe in high-risk populations that's smarter, but definitely for individuals who have had it, like they're testing their antibodies then 11 months later, people over a year later that have antibodies. Someone I just watched, they showed their, is it a T-cell account, or that their antibodies actually, after going down a little bit, had spiked back up. They think it was because they knew they were exposed to someone who'd had the Delta variant. And I've seen more than one person show that. So I just think this is obviously very political, about power and control, and not about protecting people. So thank you for listening again to our viewpoints. Please take it to consideration.
Thank you, patrons, for your comments. Okay, on to superintendent's discussion group reports.
Nothing in there.
Okay, principal director's reports. Okay, director of operations report.
The only thing I have is you have the fund summary from the end of October in front of you. Things remain strong, and really don't have any other comment. If you have any questions, I'll answer them.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Randy. Assistant superintendent's report.
I don't have any comment this week.
Thank you, Mrs. Tesoro. Superintendent's report.
Real quick, I have a piece of history here. This was sent into our office by Jane McGraw for Florence, Kentucky. But her aunt, I believe, they found this, Jane Ellen Sarver. They found one share of the stock for the original building corporation for Spartan Bowl.
Whoa.
And so I was going to pass this around, but it's one share. And
That's too cool.
what is it valued at? I saw it here somewhere.
It's right in the middle of it somewhere.
Yeah, I know. $5. But I thought it was in mint condition, but I was going to try to find out one for that. But
That
it's
is
pretty
too
cool.
cool.
She found that in her belongings when she was going through them, so for eight. So
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know how many, it says there were 1,300, I believe, of those issued. So I thought that was interesting. I wanted to acknowledge her for taking the time to call and mail that to us.
Yes, wow, that is so cool.
And may I just share a minute about the masks? I want to first, Mr. Collins, that's weird saying that name, but, I don't think we're related, but I don't know. Maybe down the road. Are you from Kentucky by chance? So my roots go back to Kentucky, but here's where we're at. I can tell you, I don't think there's anyone sitting around this table who's crazy about masks. I don't like the mask as much as the next person. My wife's a nurse, she wears masks 8 hours a day, or 10 now. The governor has really presented us with a challenge, and I see where some schools are doing some different things. I know on the news yesterday there are some schools around Indianapolis, at Christmas break, they're going to do away with the mask mandate. But here's the tough part, and I'm not going to throw our governor under the bus, but really he's deferred this back to our State Department of Health by giving us a choice. And this is what our board was presented with back in September. If we end the mask mandate, we have to quarantine kids. My estimate is we may have 400 or 500 kids quarantined out of school for 10 days. And when the board was given that option, and if you watched the meeting, I think all 7 of them agonized over that decision. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think it was hard. I do. But at the same time, it comes down to, yeah, some of these districts are doing that, and I talked to one, and they have 10% of their students out right now quarantined. I don't know how we make that up with all the craziness and all the stuff that happened last year and our kids not being in school. I'm hoping the governor will end these executive orders, and whether they're lawful or not, I don't know, but I don't want to quarantine hundreds of kids, especially from our secondary schools. That's who gets hit the worst. I'm hoping he'll quit issuing these executive orders. This one runs out at the end of November, but the game is at the end of the month, he issues another one, rolls it out 30 more days. There's some hope among some of us superintendents that this may be it. But it's political.
Do I have a chance to respond?
Not really. But this is my time to comment, but I want you, this is not an easy decision, and I believe every one of these board members wants what's best for our kids. And, I've been in all the schools. I get in the schools regularly. Our kids are adapting to it okay. Teachers let them take the mask down or off whenever they can, work far enough apart, and they're pretty tolerant of that. And I commend our staff for that. Maybe that's not the stories you always hear, but I see the kids lift their masks down, they're talking, they're outside, they're doing that. But, I'm hoping we get through it. But at this point, when you ask me what's the best alternative, this is for the community too. I would rather keep our kids in school and maybe just live with this a little longer, even though I don't like the mask. That's the choice the governor has presented us with at this time.
So if I'm not allowed to respond, I'll keep it at this.
Well, you are responding. Pardon?
Sorry?
I can't hear you.
I will respond with this.
Okay.
You all work with us, work for us. We are telling you, we don't want the masks. I understand how you came about the decision. I'm telling you how you came about the decision is flawed, because the evidence that was presented was a carbon copy printout of the CDC with no actual medical training involved. It was somebody sitting here repeating over and over what the CDC had said. An additional health department official was sitting here who also runs a local restaurant, supporting the mask mandate, yet won't support it in his own restaurant. I'll leave it at that.
So I just wanted to share. Some people may not realize that that's where our hands are tied. And yeah, we could defy the governor. That would be their call, and I'm not comfortable doing that, making that recommendation to them at this time.
Nor am I.
So, but I do appreciate you coming, and we do listen. I know they listen. I don't want to speak for you, you all can do that, but we do listen to our parents. That's all, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, for the good of the cause, does anyone have anything they would like to share?
I'd like to share, there was a retirement that was posted that was not a surprise, but I think we ought to publicly recognize Dr. Ricky Rose. We came into the system at the same time. I was a substitute teacher, she was a student teacher. And at that time in 1980s, she took a different path than I did, but we have remained friends and respected colleagues for this amount of time. And I retired a long time ago, and I have great admiration for her. The programs that she helped put together at Connersville High School, the CPL program, which allowed kids who got behind for whatever reason to get the credit recovery they needed to graduate on time. And these were not just numbers to Dr. Rose. These were people. These were kids that had issues, and she went out of her way so many times to make sure that they were on the path that they needed to be. So there are many, many young people in the Fayette County area that owe Dr. Rose a great deal of gratitude for her perseverance and her belief in them. She was unwavering in that. She will be terribly missed. Don't blame her for retiring. You know, she's we're about the same age, so she stuck it there a lot longer than I did. But I think publicly we just ought to recognize the fine work that she's done over these many, many years for the Fayette County School Corporation.
Yes. Hey, anything else?
It's Veterans Day Thursday. I know we'll have a lot of programs at the elementary level and different schools, and I just hope everybody thanks any veteran that they know. Even our Vietnam veterans are all now in their 70s and 80s. We have very few World War II veterans and Korean veterans, and just thank any veteran you know, and without them, none of this matters.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Mark. Okay, with that, I'd like to seek a motion to adjourn. Chris, second? Yes. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Anyone opposed? So motion carries and we are adjourned.